Okay, oh, you got both of us in the lens?
All right. All right.
Is this all right? I can stand up.
You're live. That works out. All right. Greetings, everybody. I am with John Roman here. You were the second assistant director on the movie most of us, in fact, all of us here love, Groundhog Day. Nice to see you in person. The first time I've seen assistant director on one of these tours, I've been on many of them. Thanks for coming.
No, thanks for having me. I haven't been back since we filmed the movie.
You came on a warm day, and I would like to ask you about that movie. Is what doors did it open for you since? What was the initial reaction when it came out, and what did it lead you to?
Well, you know, it's odd. Bob talked me into this movie. I don't want to do this movie. I'd been first ADing for a year, and for me, what happens in the progression, this level of movie is done by a very experienced first AD. So when you're second AD in movies, you jump to TV to do first AD. Back then, especially. Now, not so much. TV is just a bunch of movies. So I'd already firsted, and I was down in Orlando doing Marine World commercials. So sitting in the hot tub, he calls me, Harold Ramis, Bill Murray, this movie, and I was like, Bob, I'm already first, and I don't want a second. And he leaves alone. Calls me back another time, like 3 days later, he really wants to meet you. All right, fine, I'll go meet him. And I came out here, and I drove out here, and it was out in bloody west nowhere. And I was like, all right, well, maybe I'll do it. Maybe I won't if I don't even like this guy. I go in and meet Mike Haley. He says, well, you got the job if you want it, so, you know, let's talk about what you want to do. Because he knew I was a little grumpy about maybe not wanting to be a second again. And he goes, when you disarm somebody like that in an interview, well, I liked him right away, and we had a ball, we hit it off, and I was like, sure. Great script, and you know, that star, that director says, go make a deal with Doc. And I'm driving over to Doc's, you know, Doc was our unit manager, as Bob said. And we go to the production office, sit down with Doc, and on the way over, I got kind of worked up again. I was like, you know, dude, I got to get a hotel. I'm not going to, you know, drive back and forth. So I need a car allowance, and I want production fee and prep, which for AD's a little extra kick you need. And I sit down with Doc, and I demand all these things, and he goes, yeah, sure. And I realized I could have had even more. So it was like, it was the perfect beginning to a movie. And while it didn't really do anything for my career immediately, because right after this I went back to firsting, and I started producing like a couple years after that. But what it did is, from that point on, when I was a producer and I was able to meet people and we were chatting about our past experience, and I would casually throw out there, yeah, I worked on Groundhog Day. You worked on Groundhog Day? And then everybody has a question. Everybody in my business goes, how did, and then you go into it because they like it. It was a handcrafted movie. It was very well done, even to this day. That's why people respond to it, because all the little things are right. I mean, we're even proud of the silly timing, and the background artist is just as responsible. When Bill comes around the corner in the movie, it's a very difficult thing. He leaves here, goes around the corner. It's where he hits the old man with the money, he meets Ed Ryerson. Well, the background of the cars advance or change based on what Phil did that morning. So if you got the Danish and the coffee and came around with that, then we delayed everything what we figured was 10 minutes. We advanced everything up the road. So everybody paid attention to the subtle little stuff like that. So I think when you watch the movie, you see the care and craft that went into that one.
Care and craft into that one. And I want to ask you now, looking back in the movie, say if you were in the role of director, is there anything you see that, hey, John Roman would have done things a little bit differently? Anything at all?
No, you know, I'll tell you one of the most amazing stories, which I don't think would happen today. And if Harold, you know, the studio had found out, they may not have been all that thrilled. But when we went to shoot the very end of the movie, now it's June, it was early June, and we were in those stages over there doing the bedroom scene where he wakes up with Andy. Because in a movie, you schedule the easy stuff first, the tough stuff in the middle, and in the end, then you do the most dramatic or emotional or anything that's heavy acting. You want to let the characters build, know each other. So they're going to wake up together and do the end scenes of the movie. Because we were doing all the bed and breakfast, all done, last few days. And Bill's like, it was scripted that you would see they were naked under the sheets. So he's about to get in the bed, and Bill looks at Harold and says, well, did we have sex or not? And Bill goes, I don't know. And he goes, well, because if I have clothes on or don't have clothes on, that indicates one or the other, right? And he goes, And a little bit of discussion ensues, a little bit longer. Then all of a sudden, Haley says to me, he says, get everybody out of here. He says, let him have a minute. I go, okay. And Harold goes, you know, anybody wants to stay can stay. Well, there's one, you know, a bunch of people were bored of the grips or something. They, you know, except the key grip. Everybody takes off. So there's 80 crew outside playing basketball. About 25 of us sat around that set. And we just sat down, and for 2 hours we talked about whether or not you had the physical act of love had to accompany the act of love. You know, the purity. What's the Zen break? How do you break that plane of existence? And would the physical act taint that, or would that be part of that? You know, all this stuff. So Harold said, okay, what I'd like to do is go around the room. And so, you know, an odd collection. ADs, hair, makeup, wardrobe, sound man, you know, and some people weren't there, but there was a lot of people representing. I think there was even one of the drivers. And like I said, the key grip. So Harold goes all around the room and he goes, what do you think? And, you know, does he stuff the girl or not? You know, well, next, goes all the way around, gets everybody's opinion, and thinks about it, goes, you know, and he goes, you know what? I've decided I'm going to have my cake and eat it too. I'm going to have the covers to here. He has the clothes on, covers are to here, so I'm going to have the one half a moment when the audience thinks it, and the clothes are going to be revealed, let them think what they want.
Zen, sex, and the art of bed and breakfast.
Right?
You combine all those three things together in a way that stuck with the theme and got people making it a touching movie. Now, I want to ask you, and I asked my silly question, what if there was ever a remake? What if Harold Ramis gave the green light out there and said, you know, there's money to be made, let's do a Groundhog Day 2. Who do you see as the actors, the leading man and leading woman of today, taking the place of Bill Murray and Andie MacDowell? Or is it just something that should never be touched?
I gotta say, I hope Harold doesn't actually touch it, because some things cry for a sequel. Like Ghostbusters, that kind of thing is fun. Caddyshack, actually, those incarnations are fun. This is not. This is an iconic little piece, and because it is a complete story, unlike many, many others, I don't think it should be remade.
I hope people crowdsource it too, where they do the Star Wars thing, they take little clips of their own to show their love, where they reenact it too, so it's like you touch the same thing. But yeah, I agree, I don't think it should be touched. I'm sure there might be a comedy bit here or there, and I'm looking for the 25th one, but this has just been a magic tour for a lot of us, and I really want to thank you for being around here, Jeff Roman, and entertaining us with these wonderful stories. I think we're just going to keep on hearing more and more stories until your children are around giving this tour, so thanks a lot.
Oh, you're more than welcome.
It's been a pleasure.
All right.
Thank you, that was fun.
Bye, guys.